Now, I don't want to count my blessings before they've hatched, but it seems like we're actually recording the video this time.
Does say live and not scheduled.
It doesn't say scheduled or dead or anything. I think Grant put his finger in the right spot to make it go live.
I think it's happening.
Yeah. And it's not actually live for anybody else. Live just means we're recording the video finally. And in case we're not, I'm going to record this real quick in the beginning. Hey, I know we said there's video, but there's not video because Grant fucked it up this time. Okay, hopefully we won't have to put that in the beginning of the episode, but there's probably video at youtube.com/the Beerists podcast for patrons. I think patrons. Now I'll just put this one out for everybody. Fuck it.
Hey,
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, just to get a taste of what you get as a patron.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We have to, like Rubio and I were looking really good, but Neo down here, I'm not so sure about.
Did you guys notice anything different about me?
Yeah, you're in the Matrix.
My future's so bright. I have to wear my sunglasses at night. I think that's how the song goes.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
You look really cool, Paul Schaefer. It's awesome. Love your tinted glasses.
Now go hack a 90s mainframe or something.
Oh.
Mike's got his tinted color correction glasses, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I finally got them after one heck of a snafu, I think, in Chroma's part. They sent the wrong frames to Lori, so it's taken, I don't know, it's been like a whole goddamn year almost.
It's been a year.
Yeah. And these are the fucking cheapest feeling $500 glasses that there are.
Yeah, these were actually
but they work great. So,
and they were given to Mike by our listeners. Like everybody kind of pitched in and donated for these for Mike. It was fucking great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And being able to see color in the daytime, not having to rock actual sunglasses the whole time is pretty fucking cool. So,
right. So how is that?
It's great. It's a huge difference. The being able to see like right now, I've got the show notes up, which are very red.
Nice.
At least for you guys. Rubio's background is obviously very red. I'm getting like purples and blues kind of splashed into your background as well.
And the best part is he also knows jazz now.
Yes. Yes. I suddenly know drumming.
Yeah, I could drum with one hand upright and the other hand downwards.
I know kung fu.
Hey, Mike, you were talking about. Oh, I'm John Rubio. I'm here with
Grant Davis,
and
it's me, Mike Lambert. Neo.
And Mike, you had a fucking story about becoming the one.
Oh yes. It wasn't about becoming the one, but I do have a story about a
Mike was the albinos from the second movie with the dreads.
I'm Agent Smith, okay?
When we first met Mike, there were two of them and they were albino. Oh shit.
So man, I figured something out. After 7 days of working straight, I have diminishing returns when it comes to my levels of customer service. Because I let this go probably when I normally wouldn't have, but I couldn't resist. There was a guy that came in, and I don't know if there's any other listeners that do this, but if you ever go to a brewery and you bitch about the size of the glass that a high gravity beer is served in, like, go fuck yourself.
Oh, like when you buy a high gravity beer, a high ABV beer, and you expect to get a pint, but it's in an 8-ounce glass.
Yeah, or when you expect to get a Stein.
Right.
And it's like a 12-ouncer. This guy came in. This is Happy New Year to me, by the way. It was New Year's Day morning, and a guy comes in and he's like, "You guys got mimosas?" The answer is no. The answer is no. We don't offer mimosas. We do have kava. So I told him, no, I don't have any juice, but I can give you bubbles. That's no problem. And he just rolls his eyes and he's like, "Is it bottomless?" It's like, no.
What a dickhole.
Oh, it gets better or worse. So then he points at our Belgian strong golden ale and he's like, I want that. Well, what size serving is that in? He said 12 ounces for, it's 8.4% to give the listeners context. And the guy rolls his eyes again. He's like, "You're killing me."
What?
Like, do you like, okay.
I have a gun.
Also,
So
there are plenty of other fucking places to go and get bottomless drunk in town than a brewery. I mean, a brewery, you're actually going to a brewery for some kind of craft beer or, culinary experience. You're not going there to get fucking shit hammered on the cheap.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, some of us aren't.
It is 6th Street, so maybe he had the wrong interpretation. So I get him the beer, he gets it, and he walks away. Well, he comes back later on for his next beer, and he points at the double IPA that we have, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take the double IPA." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, 12 ounces. and he's like, "Don't you guys serve any beers in pint glasses?" And I was like, "Yeah, every other one. You just happen to pick the things with the highest gravity." And he's like, "Well, what's the cutoff?" And I was like, 8%, generally speaking. Generally speaking?
Who the fuck is this guy?
And then he's like, what if a beer's 7.9%? What then?
Good God.
And I said, "Are you gonna be okay, dude?"
What is this?
and he gets all wide-eyed and his buddy starts laughing. And he's like, I'm fine. I'll just take the IPA. I was like, okay.
It's like I'm arguing with my brother about voting laws.
It was like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I come up with the price scheme, and like the serving size. That's definitely me. But the way it is probably what I would have come up with anyway. I hand him the beer and he's like, "You have a good day," and then walks away. And of course, can you believe that somebody like that wouldn't tip?
What a piece of shit.
I definitely earned the $2 hit on that tab. That's not a problem. I was pretty happy with that one.
Like, seriously, has he never been to another brewery? I mean, because that's pretty standard procedure that if you get a high ABV beer, the serving's going to be smaller. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it costs more to make that beer, and we also have an interest in making sure that you don't get wasted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, smaller serving size.
I understand the complaint though, because it's not even like you guys put it in a tulip. You put it in like a little macchiato glass. It's really small, guys. It's like a thimble.
It isn't.
It's half of a sip and I'm done.
It's 12 ounces.
He can only smell it.
You just missed his face with a little aerosol. Here's your beer, sir.
What a fucking ray of light that guy must be at a whiskey bar.
I wanted to turn to his buddy and be like, "Does this guy do this everywhere he goes? You guys are friends? Like, why?" Like,
yeah, why do you keep bringing him places? That guy's obviously a bummer to everybody around him.
What the fuck, man? Yeah.
God damn it. Speaking of bummers, we still aren't really prepared to have more shows, but we do have, thankfully, a brewery out there that I guess regularly saves our asses from things like this. I know
tirelessly sends us beer.
They just keep sending us beer, and it's phenomenal. Hot Butcher for the World, right when this thing kicked off, this Omicron thing, we had to go and record remotely. They sent us another load of beers, and we have this for a show, and I'm so happy. And I know that there are listeners out there who are like, "Why do you keep doing Hot Butcher shows?" They keep sending us so many beers. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Me too. Let's just get started. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. The first beer we are drinking is Hot Butcher Fallwater. This is a Lorien hopped German pale ale. Lorien's the hop. 5.25% ABV, packaged in a 16-ounce can. Canned November 16th, 2021. There's No further description about this.
Which one is this?
The Fallwater.
The orange can.
Yeah.
Yes, I should have identified it by color. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Now that you have the fucking glasses.
I gotta recalibrate everything now.
Really?
I mean, well, at least the way that I would see and describe things is different.
Now he knows that his dick is purple and green.
The Hulk. That's why he calls it the
Hulk. Wears purple shorts. I've never had Lorian anything. This will be the first time.
Neither have I. I just had a whiff of this, and it smells fucking phenomenal.
Mike, do you want to try out your new color vocabulary?
I mean, for me, it's a straw yellow. It's a little bit of a straw color, but the lighting is weird in here.
Yeah,
that's all right.
And there's a really nice amount of head on top, about a finger's worth.
Mm-hmm.
It really does smell pretty excellent. I get almost Pilsner malt out of this too.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear.
It smells like a just over hopped Pilsner to me.
Yeah, and there's some really great notes of like orange juice and lemonade. And something that's something a little bit fresh pineapple juice also. It's very juicy smelling, but not very sweet smelling.
It's citrus oily.
Mm-hmm. But not so much that it would be like dried citrus peel or anything.
No, yeah, you're right.
It still smells really fresh.
I get a little cotton candy or maybe like the Airheads candy though as well.
Cotton candy really speaks to me.
There's a bit of lemon that's going on here.
Mm-hmm. And some wheat. And maybe a little bit of bubble gum.
That's delicious.
Yeah, this is great.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh man, that's so good.
This is so, just having taken my first sip, this is the greatest intersection of Pils, Pale Ale, and Saison.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm getting a little bit of all three of those things. There's that like yeasty quality that reminds me in a bit of a fruitiness reminds me of Saison. There's a crackery grassiness that reminds me of Pils, and then there's something orangey here that reminds me of Pale Ale.
You know what? I'll go one further than that and say a little bit more Kolsch than Saison. Like, I mean, instead of Pils, you say it's kind of a blend of Saison and Kolsch.
That's a good call.
With maybe 75% Kolsch and the rest of it Saison.
It's just missing a little bit of that clove spice that I would get out of Saison, but there's a little bit of that fruit quality.
Mm-hmm. There's a bit of pepper too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
This is so delicious.
I poured myself a pretty big helping, considering we got 4 of these tall boys to get through.
I'm finishing this can this evening. No doubt about this.
Yeah.
It's so good. This is everything I want in a beer right now.
Yeah, I really like that it actually has some malt character too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just completely hop tea or hop water or anything like that. There is some really great crackery, peppery, somewhat honey-like Pilsner malt.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's not Pilsner malt, there's probably a measure of that in here.
And there is something distantly weedy about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good.
It's super refreshing too. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It is very nice and carbonated. There's a great spritziness that just dances across your tongue.
The other day I got a question on our Instagram. I think I was just putting a call out for questions, and someone said, asked something to the effect of like, what is something lately that you've really enjoyed about breweries or about the beer scene? And I was saying the fact that all these breweries, like, it's become a trend to churn out a lot of new styles all the time for people rather than just making your beers and having your mainstays. Like, that is not only like it's an impressive amount of work.
Yeah.
But I'm really appreciative of, like, especially when they do it well, like Hot Butcher. These guys crank out so much beer and so many different styles and types, and they're just killing it all the time.
You know, I kind of agree with that, but I sort of want to see breweries go back to a model of having a few mainstays. Even if they keep churning out beer after beer after beer over the year, I still kind of want to see the amount of care and love that maybe Three Floyds put in a Gumball Head, making that a favorite for more than a decade, you know?
Mhm.
Well, I
You're
think that
losing. What's that?
I think it's both though. I mean, I see a lot of these breweries that have their mainstays. It's just then they're on site like Pint House. You know,
Mhm.
they've got their core 5 or 6 beers, and then they're just constantly cycling out more other beers. I figured it's the same for Hot Butcher, although I haven't been there. I don't know what their mainstays would be.
Yeah, I have no clue what their mainstays would be
Mhm.
either. I know that there are reoccurring brews of certain beers in some kind of rotating fashion or updates with, you have like a series of beers and they update the hops but keep the general recipe the same. But I don't know. Like I don't see anything with the equity, the mind space that something like, again, a Gumball Head would have, or a Surly, whatever the fuck. What did Surly
Mhm.
make? I don't remember any of their beers anymore.
Oh, Zombie Dust.
Yeah. Oh no, it's another Three Floyds.
That's
Oh
their
no,
first.
that's Surly. Abrasive or
Abrasive. Yeah. There were tons of beers like that we could look at. Pliny the Elder, like
And
things
it
that
was
have.
their brand, right? Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, yeah. And it was like you go to this brewery because they make this particular thing. Old Rasputin is another one. But now you don't have that at breweries very much anymore. It's just like, well, what's the imperial stuff that they have now?
You're and yes, you're right. And I was thinking, the two other breweries that are right by my house are Oddwood and Batch, and both of those don't really have anything I would call mainstays so much as they're constantly also rotating out beers. I love it, but I can also get the sense of like, there's something that you can put an award on, put a label on, and know is Pint House. It's going to be their Jellyfish. It's going to be their Training Vines. It's going to
Right.
be their Old Beluga, right? Like they always have those. So I see
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think it's a tough thing to juggle because, if you're doing more of one, you're not doing a whole lot of the other. But I don't know. Like I think there's room for both types of breweries out there. I just kind of wish some of the breweries that had a good mainstay roster and a flagship didn't then change that and go on to do something different.
I mean, once again, talking about that Oddwood place, I just went back there because I was excited about all these lagers they had been brewing. And I went there and all they have were a bunch of IPAs and hazies and stuff. I was like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
You guys have rotated out from that trend. All right.
Yeah, even Jester King is making more clean beer now. They're making a bunch of hazies and pilsners, and they have some fucking imperial stouts and stuff. And I I'm not that big into that stuff from Jester King. I like the stuff that they were doing,
Right.
but who am I? Anyway, that was Hot Butcher Fallwater. I'm John fucking Rubio. That's who I
Yeah,
am.
I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Who's this clown, huh?
The
Get
next
out
beer,
of
we're,
here.
the next beer we're drinking is Hot Butcher Pine Street. This is a Chinook, Simcoe, and Enigma hopped IPA, 6.5% ABV, packaged in a 16-ounce can, canned December 1st, 2021. And the description says, Chinook, Simcoe, and Enigma are the hops you didn't know you wanted, but have secretly communicated to us the most. Fleeting and spry London 3 brew. Okay. And a most. Man, I totally botched that. It says
What's
words.
going on over there?
It's a fucking London 3 hazy IPA with Chinook, Simcoe, and Enigma. That's all you should know.
this
Okay. I'm
is super hazy for me. I
Mhm.
agitated the can. It poured out real thick.
You called this a London what IPA?
London 3 is a yeast that
Oh, okay.
I believe originated at Boddington's, and now it's the primary yeast that is used in hazy IPAs.
Cool.
That has got a neat aroma. But yeah, I agitated my can quite a bit. Mine is thick and milky.
I did too. Yeah, that is nice.
It's a milky kind of mango color.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little bit subdued. It's not as vibrant.
There is something creamy about the aroma as well. There's quite a bit of tropical fruit that's going on here. There's a little bit of like a mustiness. I get berry. I get maybe a little bit of like distant mango. There's almost something coconutty about it, a little vanilla or creamy.
Yeah, it's primarily oranges, but I agree with you on that on all that other stuff. And there's some passion fruit in there, a little bit of a stinkiness too.
It's like an orange Julius kind of creamy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mike, all the tropical notes that you were talking about, they're all hitting. There's the strawberry as well. It's this creamy Mambo's candy kind of aroma. It's great.
My God, man, that tastes fucking good too, man. Holy
You
shit.
know, on the aroma, I was getting some like rotting wood kind of stinkiness to it, but in the flavor, it's all amazing fruit juices with a bit of like a bitterness, like a Angostura bitterness to it.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it, man. I love how savory the finish is based on how sweet I maybe interpreted the aroma to be.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it goes a little minty and herbal in the finish. And I think bitters is a really great way to put it because it's that apothecarian kind of bitterness in the finish.
It's like anise or something. Well,
there is a little bit of that. I get a little bit of that.
It's curious little bend, but man, I love how creamy and juicy, fruity it is up front.
And it does have a moderate amount of sweetness in the front, but that really resolves into bitterness and, herbal qualities at the end. So it doesn't really hit you as a sugary, sweet, cloying beer.
It does really resolve with a lot of bitterness and resentment at the end. That's what I thought you were about to say. And it's like, oh, I feel that. Okay, cool.
I think that suits the three of us just fine.
Yes, I would agree. The bitterness in the finish, it almost elevates how I would interpret the alcohol to be coming across. I know it's 6.5%. It almost drinks a little higher than that.
It feels bigger. It really feels
because
bigger.
because of the body as well. It just there's something substantial about it, and then because of that apothecarian medicinal kind of bitterness thing that's going on, it really makes it feel like it's a little bit hotter than what it actually is.
Hey, how familiar are you with yellow chartreuse?
Oh yeah, I love chartreuse.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like a yellow chartreuse quality that's going in my mouth. And again,
totally get that.
Again, this is primarily fruity, juicy, punchy in the beginning. Like it's this big tropical Hawaiian punch sort of thing that then turns into more of an herbal, I don't know, like bitters and chartreuse. And
if this was deconstructed as a cocktail, this would be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have a cocktail that tastes like this.
I thought it was interesting in the write-up that you were reading, Rubio, the idea that they were, I don't know if they were publicly sourcing this information or if they were just kind of collecting data like behind the scenes with what they were selling. But the fact that like Chinook and Simcoe seem to be the predominant hops that people were at least gravitating toward in their style of beers that they're making.
It seems like they are just kind of being silly with their reasoning for coming up with this beer. Is you didn't know you wanted, but have secretly communicated to us. Like,
okay.
Yeah,
I figured that was like, are they doing data collection? Like, do you guys do that, Mike? Like, where you make note of how quickly a beer is selling out and what notes and flavors are going on in there? And
I mean, we definitely have data as to like what sells, how quickly, when. Absolutely. I don't know that we've ever decided to get that deep into the data as to make a beer to reflect what numbers are selling, as much as it's just like, we might be able to sacrifice one of our 3 IPAs because now that we have our original flagship and now a hazy IPA, like this other one, the sales have been cannibalized, so we can probably just do away with it, that
Mike,
sort of thing.
I just want to make a proposition to you. I'm going to be Jonah Hill, you're Brad Pitt, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to consult with you as your accountant who does just the statistics. and we're gonna make a movie called Money Beer.
Okay.
You love it, Rubio. You love it.
No, I hate that it took that long to get there.
You don't.
You know, I don't know that Hop Butcher is doing that sort of data collection, but it'd be interesting because they'd probably, if they paid attention, would have a really, really great data set to pull from where, you know, they can kind of look at sales and, you know, the chatter that's online and see if their higher selling beers or their, you know, faster selling beers have certain ingredients, certain hops in common, you know, and maybe this is kind of what they're doing with that. I don't know. But if they did do that, that's pretty interesting. Like seeing where all of these ingredients might intersect with sales numbers, with, you know, excitement among drinkers.
Although, like, it would have to be a spin-off project because the appeal of some place like Hop Butcher is the fact that they're constantly churning out a whole bunch of different things and experimenting, right? So they have a side project that's all Moneyball, where they're taking what sells the best at this one place and just using statistics to try and create another brewery, because otherwise they'll dilute what is the brand that sells with them.
I would assume that they release so many fucking beers that anywhere they can get an idea, that's gold. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that would change their entire model of being a brewery, but it would be like one very, very valuable way to decide what to brew next.
I gotta say, at least for Hop Butcher and in our experience with them, I feel like for the variety that they churn out, the number of just absolute hits is just, it's pretty staggering, man. We've had like one or two stinkers, maybe, from these guys, and
one or two.
Like,
I think
real
one or
legit
two
stinkers.
I think one or two that we would describe as stinkers.
Sure,
not just average.
No,
no. They're
crash and burn.
Yeah, dies.
Right.
Like I think we would have given those dies.
Yeah.
It's pretty staggering the amount of variety that these guys are able to churn out and still make really quality good shit.
So Hop Butcher, since you are listening, when you do make the Money beer, I'm Jonah Hill on the label art. Mike is Brad Pitt.
Yes, what Grant said.
Which one am I?
You're the ball. You can be the baseball.
You're a fucking piece of shit. Hey, we're moving on from Pine Street, going to Octo Moss. Did I mention that Hop Butcher's in Chicago? I don't think I did. But Hop Butcher Octo Moss is what we're drinking next.
Lord Octomoss.
Oh, is it Lord Octomoss? Holy shit, it is.
Respect the title, sir.
Lord Octomoss. This is a Mosaic, Citra, and Simcoe hop double IPA. 8% packaged in a 16-ounce can November 16th, 2021. Mashup double IPA of Mosaic hopped Lord Octopus and Citra and Simcoe hopped Green Moss. Raw premium Pilsner base and totally fluffed out malted oats and malted wheat from Form, Wispy Clouds for Mosaic Cryo, Citra Cryo, Simcoe, and Simcoe Cryo. Holy fuck.
This sounds like it's going to be terrible.
Hazy mango. Color. I mean, it's a yellowy tan.
Yeah, it actually, I thought it was going to look like split pea soup with all that stuff in there.
It's a little bit more orange, but just about as thick, though.
Beautiful head on top.
Wow, smell that, guys.
Yeah, that smells great.
It smells really good.
It smells like wildflowers and pizza seasoning, maybe.
Yeah, a little oregano.
Yeah.
But also pine, orange peel. Those are the two biggest notes for me.
Wildflower honey. There's an underlying honey note to this.
And it's also mossy and a bit pot-like, danky.
Yeah.
Danky King. That's all I think of when I say danky. Hi, I'm Danky King.
Oh, Danky King. Princess Zorldo.
Princess Zorldo.
This is interesting. I mean, this is delicious. This
yeah,
this tastes every bit the 8% that Pine Street did.
It does,
and it's
really
8% just straight down the middle. The thing that I'm noticing just before we get into broad strokes is there's a hit of acidity right in the middle of it, like a citric acid type acidity that spikes right towards the mid palate for me.
Right there at the exact spot that I get what you're describing is also a bit of an ethanol flare. You know, there's a bit of an alcohol flare that happens there too, which is really cool.
I like the viscosity of this. It's got almost a siltiness to the quality of the body. And yeah, I mean, aside from the orange and pine that are definitely present up front, there's kind of an underripe strawberry note that I am pleased to get.
Yeah. I also really enjoy the fact that, of course, it is like orange and pine forward, and it has the thickness of like a fresh pineapple juice. I guess it's not like super thin. It's not like orange juice, fresh squeezed orange juice thin. It's more pineapple juice, which has a bit more substance to it.
And you definitely get quite a bit of that pineapple-y kind of thing going on from Mosaic. There's an underlying sweetness to this that I don't know that it's necessarily cloying. I like it. It's just there. I think that ethanol spike kind of helps to cut that quite a bit. It doesn't quite have that apothecarian bitterness that the last one did. That's for sure.
Man, this might be speaking too soon, but I'm trying to figure out if there's a hazy double IPA that I've had recently that I like better than this. I love how balanced this is. I love the flavor profile, the amount of sweetness, the still kind of spritziness of the carbonation, the thickness, like everything for me is just firing. It is so good.
This drinks easier than the last beer.
Yeah, it does.
I think by heads and shoulders here. It's
also more satisfying to me. It's got, I don't know, like it fills all of the fucking check boxes that I want for a double IPA, a hazy double IPA. I don't want a regular like a West Coast double IPA like this, because that would fucking not be that. This is something completely different and really good. It also doesn't end on a cloyingly sweet note. Again, they're going with the herbal, with the eucalyptusy, with the little bit of bay leaf,
arugula.
Arugula, all that like peppery bitterness at the end is just so good and so key to making this as palatable, as balanced as it is.
I like what you're saying. For me though, when I'm drinking this, I think that the green herbalness of that bitter note isn't as much in my lane. I think it's a great beer, but when you're saying, it's your favorite, maybe that you've had lately of any, fuck, almost knocked that over. Shit. Anyway, like that note as well as Mike was mentioning the sweetness, and it does feel like there's almost a corn syrup kind of like pump action sweetener note that's just like lying underneath it. It kind of reminds me of like a sweetener you get in like a Starbucks coffee or something.
Interesting.
But it's not a big note. It's just kind of hiding underneath, and it's a little peculiar there.
You mentioning that it makes me think a little bit of like agave nectar or something.
Yes.
Okay,
that's a great call.
That might be a better way of contextualizing it. That makes it a little bit better.
It isn't like a straight on sugar sweetness. There's something different to it that is a little bit like either agave nectar or, I don't know, monk fruit, maybe a little bit. I'm not sure.
I'm with you, Rubio. I think that at least in terms of hazy double IPAs, this is really hitting it for me and everything that I would want in that type of beer. There's a sweetness here, but there's certain extremes to this beer, but it all seems to run very balanced. Like there's some sort of counter mechanism that brings everything into like a equal level for me.
Mike, you were an audio guy growing up. You went to school for audio. It's like everything on here has a bit of a limiter on it, or a little bit of compression on it, where all the peaks are sort of tempered by some attenuation somehow. I really like that. I really like that description of it. I want to move on though, because these guys do IPAs really well, but something that Grant and I have had a lot of experience with Hop Butcher is that they make amazing imperial stouts. And
I have unfortunately missed out on a lot of those. It seems like every single time you have one of those shows, I'm out of town or something like that. So
well, you're here now, and we have one. By the way, we just finished Lord Octomoss. This one, I don't know how
I'm nervous about this one.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it too, actually.
I don't know how I feel about mint imperial stouts, but that's what we got. We got Hop Butcher minted. This is a holiday imperial stout with chocolate and Frango mint oil. I don't know what Frango is. It sounds like an orangutan, an orangutan's fago. That was real dumb. 10.5% ABV, packaged in a 16-ounce can, November 30th, 2021. Imperial stout brewed with chocolate and Frango mint oil, a collaboration with Chicago's Garrett Popcorn. I looked up Frango mints, and Frango is a brand of these mint chocolate confections that was kind of like a Chicago mainstay, like this institution in Chicago, and they were for sale at these this chain of department stores, I guess, and they ended up changing ownership, and now this popcorn company owns them. And so if you want to try these Frango mints, go to that aforementioned popcorn company.
I don't know if these glasses are working, but this is just a deep inky black.
Yeah, it's ridiculously dark.
Very dark, tan head.
The aroma, man, it's thin mints and grasshoppers, and there's an underlying coffee quality to it, and it's deeply fudgy.
It's a little tarry too, which is nice.
Yeah, and there's a pipe tobacco thing that's happening here.
Oh yeah,
quite a bit of leather.
Molasses.
I was thinking it smells like a men's cologne section, or like a fancy menswear boutique.
Almost like that little bit of a, I don't want to say Old Spice, but that, that spiciness in a cologne.
Or like when I've never been to a strip club, but I assume if you've ever been to a strip club,
I've been to a strip club with you,
and you go into you go into the bathroom, and there's the dude who's there to help you, and they have all the shit like on the bathroom, like here's your juicy fruit and all your like hand soaps and all that.
Yeah,
there's an aroma of this that's also on that counter.
Speculatively.
Wow,
it smells great. There's a chicory, maybe a little bit of chicory in there.
Chicory. I just took a sip. That's going to be too much mint for me.
Really?
That's going to be too much mint.
I mean, it's a substantial amount of mint, no doubt about it. But there is a neat fudgy, and the texture of the beer is the first thing that I noticed. I think beyond just the mint flavor, it was something that like it just it inflated almost across my tongue. There was something like very like almost evaporative, but then also it was just something that like as soon as it hit my palate, it just bubbled up.
I think the word
it became super creamy.
I think the word you're looking for is explosive.
Yeah.
This is just insane with the amount of flavor, the way the texture sort of unfolds on your palate almost instantly. Grant is right. There is a lot of mint here. It's a substantial amount of mint, he said. I think there's also a substantial amount of everything else.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that much mint, it might not register so much.
It is a substantial amount of mint. It is also a ton of booze. It is also a ton of fudge and a ton of chocolate and good bit of coffee there too. Every single time that I go in for a sip, the way that the texture explodes, the way that it almost feels like the beer expands somehow as it's traveling across my palate. It's a neat feeling, and there's something I'm sure the mint is playing a role in the way that it feels like that. There's that sort of an added effervescent quality while being like super, super tiny bubbles.
Yeah.
It's rich and decadent, like the other stouts that Rubio and I've had. I wish that the mint was dialed down just a little bit, because I think a little bit of mint goes a long way as a flavor adjunct, especially because I once made a cocktail that was like a chocolate pudding mint cocktail, and I used essential oils mint. I used a couple drops of that, and
A couple drops too many, I'm
couple
sure.
drops flooded it. And this really kind of reminds me of that, like this essential oils, like really distilled mint oil that it says on the can. I think it's just a bit more intense than I want it to be.
What I wish is that we had a beer bottle share where there was one single can of this, because there's no way in fucking hell I can drink the whole damn can of this. I really need about 8 other people to get the other 14 ounces.
And it isn't because this beer doesn't taste good. This beer tastes
it's just a lot.
It tastes amazing. It's just that every tiny little sip I have devastates my palate. It literally just firebombs my palate with richness and flavor, and everything is dialed up to 12, but somehow at 12 it's still kind of in balance with itself.
What's really great is like no fucking off flavors. Like
no,
they're achieving something that's like, it's a big, huge imperial stout, and god damn it, man, like the biggest turn off for me now, like acetaldehyde is something that's like difficult for me to pick up. I'm not as sensitive to it as you are, Rubio, or you, Grant, I think. But in imperial stouts, it's very apparent, and I don't get that at all here.
Dude, every one of their imperial stouts that I've had have been so fucking clean. It's a style that you can hide anything behind, especially when you're dealing with flavor this big. But even then, I can usually pick it up in gigantic beers at tiny little amounts. But there's no acetaldehyde here. There's no off flavor of any kind. It's really, really well done, super clean. And again, like I said, in context with itself, it's very balanced. Now, is it a beer that I would call balanced with where the baseline is my empty fucking mouth? No.
Yeah.
This is huge. Like this beer is fucking huge. But all the flavors in that hugeness kind of make sense for why, the alcohol is that high, or the, sugars are that high, or the bitterness is that high. They all make sense in relation to one another.
I find it's making me sleepy. This beer is making me tired.
I find it's making me tipsy.
Yeah, me too. You know what? Jeremiah Zimmer is one of the co-founders of Hot Butcher, and he's the guy who listens to this show, and he's the guy who keeps sending us these beers. And I want to encourage Jeremiah to not stop. I also want to encourage Jeremiah to, if you guys ever have a few imperial stouts ready at the same time, or even, if the schedule and there's going to be 2 or 3 that are going to overlap, I'd really love to try a few imperial stouts at once.
I'd love to see them tackle like a straight down the line pills.
Oh yeah, dude. I think we've had one that was really good.
I'd love to see that. I figure that probably doesn't sell as well for them, which is why they kind of go with the angle that they do. But man, I mean, they do something like the big and crazy shit so well, which is, I don't know. So often when people go big and crazy, it's not clean. And every single time I've had something, at least with the stuff that we've had that hasn't been a stinker, it's just been so spot on.
Well, for most breweries, that sort of beer is a crutch, man. You can make something kind of fucking wild and big and hide all of your weaknesses behind those giant flavors. And these guys don't have to do that. Like, they're really, really good brewers, and they're making the big and crazy shit better than most fucking people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. I'm happy as hell. You guys want to do recommendations?
I do.
Yeah.
At the end of every episode, we give our personal, each of us, give our personal recommendations for whether we think a beer is a buy, a try, a sigh, or a die in this lineup. And the first beer we drank, and Grant's going to go first, was Hop Butcher Fallwater. That was their Lorien hopped German pale ale.
Beer of the night. This is a buy. This one is amazing. I think Mike had the best description when he said that it was a pale ale, it was a pilsner, and it was a saison all rolled into one perfect, beautiful package. I love it.
I'm gonna second Grant here. Everything I said was phenomenal. Totally perfect.
Fuck you.
No, this is my beer of the night as well. For all the reasons that Grant said that I said it.
You know, when you're being arrogant with those glasses on, you've gone from 1990s hacker to manager of a 1980s wrestling team.
Mark Maron?
Yeah. I was thinking about a Jimmy Hart or somebody like that. Remember that guy?
No.
Okay, cool.
Rubio, what's your thoughts?
This is tied for my beer of the night. It's phenomenal, and I could drink tons of it. It's a buy.
Right on.
Hop Butcher Pine Street's what we drank next. That was the Chinook, Simcoe, and Enigma hopped IPA that you didn't know you wanted.
You know what? I enjoyed this for the most part. I'd give it a high try. Mike.
This was a buy for me. I really liked the aroma and the way that it kind of faked you out and gave you something a little bit more savory and apothecarian in the finish. I think that it was super tasty. I really like this one.
Yeah, I think only idiots would not say this is a buy.
Grant.
Fuck you.
The next one, Hop Butcher Lord Octomoss.
I would say this. I'm pretty sure this is Rubio's other beer of the night. So once again, if I'm giving it below a buy, he's gonna bitch about it. But I'm gonna give this a high try as well.
Why would you make assumptions, dickhole?
Watch, I'm right.
This is a very close second for beer of the night for me. It ticks all of the marks that I want for a hazy double IPA. This is absolutely a buy. It's a high buy.
I thought this was a really good beer. It is tied for my beer of the night, you fucking piece of shit, Grant Davis.
Man, he telegraphed that punch from miles away.
He has. There's no taste in the Grant household. He is just there, Funko popping through the world.
Oh, it's so accurate. It hurts.
Lord Octomoss is a brilliant double IPA. I wish there were more breweries with that capability and that much beauty that they could make this kind of beer.
You'll have to fucking write a poem for each review here.
It's a buy, a high buy.
Okay.
Hop Butcher Minted is what I'm still drinking. I think Grant might have passed out and just passed away. Is that a better way?
I think I'm in heaven now.
Look at the background.
Oh.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't looked at this on YouTube, why?
Yeah, why?
He's in front of a backdrop of I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to narrate shit for you.
Okay, Grant, what do you think of this minted?
I like the stout. Once again, I think the stout element of this is awesome. I wish I could peel back a bit of that mint. It's too much for me. I find it a bit abrasive, so I'm probably gonna have to give this a low try just because of that.
I'm somewhere between. I'm a high try on this. I think that I would give the caveat of make sure that you have other people to be able to share this with, because if you're going to buy it and consume it. I don't know that one person would want to consume the entire 16-ounce can of this to themselves.
You know that one guy who would.
Oh, I mean, there's one at every tasting.
Yeah.
But it is delicious, and it does all of the things that it markets itself as doing very, very well. So it's just one of those things where it's gigantic and it's big. You probably want to share this with somebody.
At our tastings, we call that guy Dump Bucket Rubio.
Fucking hell.
That's his nickname. I'm not gonna say who it is, but we call him Dump Bucket Rubio.
If I was at home and Grant was being my little Colombian pool boy,
go on.
And I said,
yes, and
I said, Joaquin.
I had a very vivid dream last night. I don't know how you knew about it.
Joaquin, fetch Daddy his York peppermint patty, and you didn't show up with this, you would be fired or severely punished.
Win-win.
This is a buy. It's phenomenal. It's a lot, but it's a lot for good reason. I love this. It's a buy.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
I have gone back to finish my can of Fallwater, and it is delightful.
I can't think of any beer we had tonight that wasn't delightful. Like this was so much fun. There's a reason we keep doing these Hop Butcher shows, aside from them sending us tons of beer all the time. It's because they're so good.
And they keep sending us beer. This is just a note to other breweries listening. You send us beer, we'll probably drink it.
We will probably drink it. I can't guarantee that we'll like it. Look back at the last episode.
Oh, the non-alcoholic? That's just because we're alcoholic.
No, there was several beers there that we liked, but there was Bella Snow.
And then there was also that Grain Wave.
Yeah, those they weren't beer at all, but they weren't bad.
I like that Indie Wave.
Yeah, me too.
I would drink that Indie Wave. And that Lagunitas IPNA. I mean, I'd rather drink the Hop Refresher, but that wasn't bad.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm not gonna guarantee. We cannot guarantee that we'll like a beer that you send in. We will probably drink it though. And if you send us beers all the time, if they're better than average, usually, then we'll keep featuring in them. I'm drunk.
I think what you meant to say is if you buy into the appropriate Patreon tier, we can guarantee a positive review for your beer.
No, that has never happened. Won't ever happen. Oh, guess what? I know this is probably gonna fall on ears that know this already, but I just today sent out a giant amount of rewards.
Jesus Christ, I've been waiting for that for like 4 years.
People have been waiting for a long time, and I just sent out a ton of rewards today.
Half of those people are already dead from failed livers.
That might be true.
Yeah. Well, when it gets returned.
Right. Yeah, look on the bright side. I can re-gift it when it comes back. Oh man. And they also forgot to cancel their patronage.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's a sweet deal. Patreon.com/thebeerists.
Oh my God. If you guys listening that are patrons, put us in your will that you tell the estate.
Oh man.
You tell the estate to keep giving whatever you're giving right now for perpetuity. Patreon.com/thebeerists.
Yeah, I would like to make sure you include me and Mike in that will too.
Sure.
Underlard, give us specific stuff.
Did you say underlard?
Underlard our names.
Yeah.
That's when you underline somebody's name with a finger covered in lard.
Yeah, like Grant gets this grandfather clock, and Mike gets.
I get all the old firearms.
You get this trench coat.
No.
And this katana.
And bullet time.
You get bullet time.
Grant's gonna get
your albino brother back.
Now, if our listeners do the right thing, they're gonna leave Mike all of the family's haunted dolls.
Ew! Don't do that to the dolls.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of dolls that are haunted by different spirits. So
I'll make them unhaunted.
Mike can say, "Oh no!" I was gonna say you'd sell them on your Etsy store.
Yeah,
but that's different than I just imagined you fucking the ghost out of them
once they're cleansed.
Oh, I hate it.
Not comfortable with this.
What do you think I mean?
We know exactly what you mean.
You're gonna fuck the ghost out of this doll.
You're gonna put your dick in a bunch of weird, creepy dolls.
Oh my god.
Don't do
Okay,
it.
listeners, if you have a
Put
creepy,
the Hulk in there, man.
if you have a creepy doll, send me an email.
I'll fuck the ghost out of it.
Maybe if you send me the doll, I'll send it over to Mike and he can fuck the ghost out of it. Hell, if you have a grandparent you don't like, you can send me an email.
Oh my god.
I'll fuck the ghost out of it.
Send me a grandparent and I'll give it to Mike and he can fuck the ghost out of them.
You guys are really screwing up me and Mike's deal with Hot Butcher for that money beer. They're gonna hear this part and be like, gross, we can't work with them.
If Hot Butcher listens to this and they come up with a beer called Mike the Exorcist and there's a possessed doll.
God, that's worse.
Oh yes. I want that so bad. Oh, I want that so bad.
Yeah, you do. You sicko.
Good night. Good night, everybody. We love you.